I'll start at the config menu so I can explain autosave.
Yeah, it's like 40 seconds.
Okay. Actually, could you put it back on?
I'm fine if it's off. You just end up talking too loud, but that's just my...
Yeah. All right, cool. So I'm Irisjoker.
I'm Dark Teryx.
Slurpee Ninja.
Alt Biscuit.
All right, so this is Trauma Center's second opinion. So before we start, I'm gonna turn off autosave to save a little bit of time in between operations, but there will be a few times where I'll just manually save, in case anything goes, wrong or whatever. So I'll pick normal and then I'll overwrite this save. And then once the now loading part at the bottom right-hand corner goes away, we can start.
You see right off the bat that he just skipped that intro part to get right into the first operation here.
Yeah, first sign that this game is nice for speedrunning. You can skip the cutscenes. And you can skip the text really fast.
Mm-hmm. And you can skip the story missions.
This story is something else, by the way, if you've never experienced it before. So
Yeah, it starts off pretty tame. Like you're a rookie surgeon who starts off doing surgery like this with cuts and basic injury like this, but then it eventually gets really crazy.
Like really crazy.
this is basically the training operation. Everything's very scripted, and the only way you're going to kill the patient is if you go way, way out of your way to kill them.
Yeah, so like I don't even have all the tools yet. Everything is just very guided. This is just to teach the player, like, this is what the gel does. This is what the sutures do. Don't drop glass.
So yeah, the way the glass work in this game is very much like Operation. If you
Don't
hit
touch
the
the
edge,
sides.
don't touch the sides. Otherwise, you drop it and it hurts the patient.
Sometimes fail.
I guess this first chapter is a good time to also explain just the various mechanics of the game. When you open up the patient, you're expected to disinfect it before you cut it. Now, technically, you don't have to disinfect the entire line, but if you do, then the cut is a lot more generous.
She just said censored a lot of times.
Oh, and also for each time, either this nurse or the next nurse that'll be coming up soon, say Sensei, I'll be donating $1.
She's already at 9.
By the way, if you didn't notice, he didn't disinfect the cut at the end of the operation. The first operation is the only one that you were required to do
They
that.
force you to do that in the first one to show you how it's done, and then you completely ignore that. Just, you swipe the Band-Aid on as fast as you can, get to the next patient.
Yep, in the interest of speed.
Yeah. I don't think that's the first thing you really want to hear after you're done in the OR. It's like, yeah, I didn't really disinfect your wound. I was going for a PB.
Now
That's
you-
fine.
fine.
You're out the door. That's all I care about.
Dr. Styles wants a huge paycheck. Next patient, next patient.
よろしくお願いします。月森先生。
So this operation's basically like the previous one, except it's 3 tumors, and as you can see, you can cut open the tumors without the ultrasound to show them where they are, as long as you know exactly where they are. And even then, it's a little bit generous on where you can cut.
That was another sensei.
11. Where?
Dang, I was thinking there was only going to be about 50 senseis, but now we're kind of reaching out, thinking that's way underestimated.
Yeah. And actually, on hard mode, to get an excess rank, you actually can't use the ultrasound to find the tumors, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I don't remember. Actually, it's been a while since I've played that one on hard.
I believe that's a requirement.
There is a rank higher than S, which is only achievable on hard mode. It's XS, and it's got pretty insane requirements.
Yeah.
Only one person does the full XS rank run, and it's crazy.
Yeah, there's a Japanese runner by the name of SGDQ who's pretty much the father of this game, speedrunning wise.
He's definitely the one who got me into this game. Like watching his any percent normal run, his 100% XS run, doing every operation on the hardest difficulty perfectly. It's just ridiculous.
And I believe he only reset 3 times during it.
Yep.
Yeah. It was on the same type of operation too, but.
I like to call it 100% SCSK.
And so we've transferred hospitals, by the way, and now we have a new nurse, Nurse Angie. So the one who says Sensei 1,000 times is gone.
Actually, fun fact, she doesn't really call you Sensei until Operation 1-8 because she doesn't really think highly of you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, this operation's a good example of the magnification tool. The magnification tool is on the same slot as the ultrasound, so it just kind of switches between them based on what the operation needs. And there's 8 tools in the game, and each direction on the nunchuck chooses which one, so you can swap between tools really quickly.
Yeah. Also, I should point out that this is a remake of the DS game that came out in 2005. So one of the distinct advantages is, for example, I don't have to draw a circle to zoom in. I don't have to draw upwards to use the drain. All the tools, for the most part, have been adjusted for the Wii, and they're much easier to use. And obviously, like Alta said with the nunchuck, I can quickly swap between all of them, which you'll see later on in the run.
Yeah, they also removed a lot of the unreasonable difficulty of the DS version. In this version of the game, you can swap between easy, normal, and hard. There are a few operations where Iris will be swapping to hard difficulty because it's faster. And we define the normal category. As long as you play the operations on normal or higher, it counts. So basically, just don't switch to easy.
They also added in a whole extra chapter for the Wii version.
That was really well done. This operation is really difficult to do without any mistakes.
So the story wants you to thoroughly search for any more tumors, but as you just saw, I really just, checked one spot over and over again. They just want you to use the ultrasound.
They're okay with this.
Yeah, just like us not disinfecting the patient there.
Yeah.
We have a $100 donation from Evok. Waited all week to give during my favorite game, Trauma Center. I'm so happy to see it being speedrun this year. Thanks, Irisjoker.
So that was the story chapter. He just skipped right over it.
Yeah. So one of the main mechanics of this game is something called the healing touch, which is kind of unleashed on this operation here, that you don't have complete control of it yet. The short version is it gives Iris here the ability to slow down time.
However, I believe using it also lags the game.
Yeah, in most cases, is we try to avoid using as much as possible.
While beneficial to some operations is actually not quite useful for RTA.
Yes. So there will be cases where I will just not use the healing touch because it will be slower, like Hiraki, Pempti, other things later in the game that I'll encounter that I'll just deal with on my own without using the healing touch.
This
Nice.
is
A good shot.
nice one. On the defibrillator there's a part of the meter where you need to aim for. If you hit it on green, then you get it in one try. But if you hit it in the gray area next to the green, then it takes two. I'm so used to hearing this in English and it's throwing me off.
I haven't heard Dr. Styles yet.
Yeah.
Or Angie just yelling, "Doctor!"
Yeah.
Yeah. Sensei, it doesn't just apply to teachers. It applies to anyone in a higher profession who's very knowledgeable about what they do. So for doctors, doctors, nurses, anyone in the health field, they're typically referred to as sensei.
So these operations here in Chapter Z is exclusive to the Wii version. This is Naomi Weaver, which, like Dr. Styles is initials for DS. This is NWE for her initials on the English version.
Right.
Yeah, like Dr. Styles, DS, Naomi. She has two names. She has Naomi Weaver and then Naomi Kimishima. And her alias, Naomi Weaver, is for Nintendo Wii. So who knows if her real name, Naomi Kimishima, could be for Nintendo 4K or something like that.
So to send in these bone fragments, you actually have to turn the Wiimote, and that can be quite painful at times.
Yeah. This was a launch title for the Wii, and it's a pretty good example of what the technology was capable of. This is one of the few games for the Wii that I would say that pointer controls are very good for it. I wouldn't want to play this game with a mouse.
Also, trying to use the defibrillator with the mouse and keyboard would be a little difficult.
I can imagine.
I'm sure they would make it work with just a key press or something, but it's just not as immersive.
Yeah.
We have a $20 donation from Dr. Jack. As a medical school student, I had to donate to my favorite surgical simulator. Stayed up all night just to watch this. Thanks, GDQ staff, for such an incredible event.
So a funny thing about this game, when you beat all of the operations, they tell you that this game does not make you a doctor. And if you are a doctor, don't tell your patients how many times it took you to beat a game about surgery.
Yeah, it really actually says that. It's crazy.
And so Atlas had a little sense of humor with this game.
Also, fantastic soundtrack because Atlas.
You might also be noticing
Sensei.
that the sutures are a little bit generous sometimes, but I've had ones where I feel like it should have counted and it didn't.
I missed a whole bunch of senseis there.
Yeah.
We're probably at like 15.
We have a $5 donation from Rare Shadow. I've always wanted to see what a trauma center run is like. This is gonna be an amazing run.
So this is the operation, if you could call it that, where Iris learns how to draw a star.
Some say I'm still learning.
Yeah.
It's a very precise procedure.
We've learned over the many times of running this game that the star can be very finicky, and we've all lost a run to not drawing a star properly before.
There's also, you can draw it from any starting point, so.
Yeah. I also have picture evidence of a very, very odd-looking star that counted. looks nothing like a star. I drew
Not
it
in the
in
slightest.
I drew it in a panic because I was about to die, and when it went off, everybody was astounded by it.
I'm still astounded by it.
Pretty sure sometimes I've triggered it by drawing circles. And it suddenly comes as stars.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't come to this, but we've joked that this might become a co-op speedrun if I need to draw the star at the end of the game. So this is the operation where they expect you to use the healing touch on your own now that you know how to use it. But, just like not disinfecting the wound in the interest of speed, sometimes it's worth to make the patient
17.
suffer a little bit.
Yeah. This is a removing aneurysms operation. It's 4 in the morning.
So yeah, first he has to, I forget what the term
I had
is
to
right
inject
now,
the
but-
sedative to
Yeah.
make the aneurysm smaller, and then I'll use the scalpel to cut it out and then
Excise
extract it.
Yes.
So he's
So-
going to let a few aneurysms burst here on purpose, just because it's faster.
It is a sweet spot.
On normal difficulty, you have enough leeway to let that happen, but if this was hard,
Yeah.
you can't let that happen.
It's very different. I would have to be much more careful, can't make any mistakes, have a little bit more vitals than I did for that.
Yeah, ordinarily, we wouldn't recommend letting aneurysms burst. But
No, that'd be bad.
Yes.
In fact, this patient probably wouldn't have. Well, I mean, he's out in the operating room, so I
we
guess that
don't want to
counts.
think about what happens.
We have a $100 donation from Animate Light. This is the perfect game to donate for SGDQ. It's all about saving lives like in real life, and so I will donate to help save real lives. And since this charity is about saving real lives, let's save the animals for once. Let's not forget our Hippocratic oath.
I think we've already broken it a bunch of times already. So the mechanic this operation is introducing is deep gashes. Or deep lacerations, rather.
Yes. So these gashes over here are lacerations, while these smaller ones up there are cuts.
And technical terms here.
Yes.
So, anyway, you have to close the laceration before you can suture it.
Yeah.
If you let the laceration open up again, it really lowers your vitals.
I'd say we're at 22 senseis now.
I'm glad you guys are trying to keep track because
I'm trying. It's hard.
it's hard at 4:30 in the morning.
It's like I start losing track, and then I hear 6 senseis in a row, and I'm like, what? Where did that come from?
So this is the point in the story where the, for lack of a better term, the story becomes anime.
Yeah.
So this is where you basically run into the enemy of this game. It's called Guilt, and
Created by an organization named Delphi. They're bad people.
Yeah. They basically
don't
just
wanna
view
run into them on the
humanity as
street
sinners,
because-
so they just created a man-made virus to try and wipe out everyone. So as doctors, we're going to try and fight back against them.
yeah,
They're interested in
Delphi's
creating incurable diseases and they release them airborne into.
they're trying to save humanity by killing it. Anime. That's all I got to say about that.
Pretty much. It's pretty weird.
So as you might notice, I'm doing this operation again because the same patient is still suffering from the same problem. But now, as you can see, there's these weird little bats flying around in her. So we're going to try and get rid of all of them.
Perhaps.
That's the real reason why we need the surgical laser, just like in med school.
Yeah. You've done this thousands of times before in med school, believe me.
So after the first 2 cycles, the large Kiriaki appears, and you have to laser it 3 times, at least right now. In the later operations, you have to hit it 4 times.
Yes, after they mutate.
No, the good thing about it is whenever it dives, you can usually find it right where it last dived at. It doesn't kind of go to a random spot or anything, so you can follow it pretty easily.
Yeah, the hard part is just finding them initially, but they generally like to hang around the middle, so you can usually find them pretty quickly. And if you're quick enough and fortunate enough to find multiples of them, you can sometimes cut 2 of them out at the same time, or even 3.
Yeah, because it's the first of these, they call them guilt. Because it's the first, the Kiriaki appears a lot.
There's a total of 7 strains, one for each day of the week. So Kiriaki is attributed to Sunday and so on and so forth. The others will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. Not that it really matters, but...
So this operation is one that we typically use the healing touch on to do it all in one cycle. It is possible to do this operation without the healing touch in one cycle, but it's very, very tight.
Because fibrillation occurs, and then you can't do anything during fibrillation, so you don't really want another cycle.
Oh, good shot.
Nice. Whoa, nice.
Oh, I forgot to use the healing touch.
Oh, I thought for a second the madman, he's going for it.
No, I forgot, but I was close.
This is probably the finickiest suture in the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just do like a little zigzag in the middle, and it'll close up that whole giant wound, and you're like, wow.
And this game is anything but accurate for a lot of things. So anyway, now we're going back to Naomi now that Chapter 2 is done. Yeah. Magic is a very apt term for what Naomi's healing touch is.
Yes.
Derek slows down time, but Naomi's, whenever you do any action that's a good or higher, it heals the patient's vitals.
Somehow.
So story-wise, her deal is to keep the patients alive long enough so they can perform experiments. You don't know who the organization is yet at this point in the story.
Ooh, I already told you guys, sorry.
Yeah. So.
Spoilers.
So these tumors are slightly different from the ones that we've seen before. They have these veins that you have to cut off before you can extract them. And if you have to remove them all in one go, otherwise they will respawn.
Come back.
This is probably one of the first operations casually where people get walled.
Yep.
We have a $10 donation from Chooks that says, a good cause, and I love surgeon cosplay.
So on hard difficulty, I would only go for 2 of these veins at a time, but since I'm on normal, I have a little bit more leeway with the patient's vitals, although, again, you really want to hear a surgeon go, yeah, I had a little bit more leeway, so I decided to just aggressively go and cut off your tumors.
Yeah, you can notice how quickly the vitals are going down even with the healing touch going, and on hard difficulty, it goes way too fast if you cut all the veins. The main difference between the difficulties, at least easy heals 20 vitals with the stabilizer, which is the green liquid you see him injecting into the patient. On normal and hard, it's 10, but on hard difficulty, mistakes are a lot more costly. Everything does more damage. Things move faster. It's just extremely difficult.
And stressful.
So this is the point in the story where a medical organization called Caduceus has found out about Derek and Angie's exploits with guilt. So now...
Sorry. Rip ears.
So now this is where they recruit them and want to be the forefront of modern medicine.
So yeah, this is just a repeat of Kiraki again, just to see, Derek's skill with doing the healing touch and all that. Although, of course, we're not really going to use it.
Yeah, this is the most common operation out of all the guilds. I believe you see it like 9 times.
Several times during the run, yeah.
There's one operation later on where you have to do 5 patients of karaoke. And that's when the game really starts to ramp up in how how hard it is on your hands with this game. When I actively ran this game, I could only do 2 runs a week because it was just so hard on my wrists.
Yeah.
I can only do 2
This
runs
game
a day.
definitely takes a lot out of you when you try to practice it over and over and over again. As you might notice, I'm like sitting like perfectly still because I want to try and keep my wrists and hands from shaking while I'm trying to move the Wiimote around.
Yeah, everyone kind of has their own method for keeping the pointer accuracy the way that they want. And I use my left hand to kind of balance the Wii remote a little bit. So coming up is the second strain of Guilt, which I think I could speak for all of us, where it's our least favorite one by far.
Definitely.
This one is by far the most random out of the 7 strains of Guilt. Luckily, we only see it twice in the run, but the second time is near the very end. So,
Yeah.
and
If things go really bad with it, I could lose about 2 to 3 minutes of time.
I can definitely.
Ideally, if I have average or good luck, it shouldn't take an hour and 40. But that's how like annoying or deadly or sorry, that's how bad the luck with Terra can be.
so the nickname for this guild is Creeping Tumors, and basically the way that this one works is there will be 2 different colors of these tumors that are just swimming around, and this first half of the operation just shows how it works. When they join in together here, they make this circle that you have to drain, and you have to do it 3 times, and it's before you can extract it. And they'll be dropping tumors as they go. Now, when they join together for the 3rd time and you drain them, they're going to thrash about, and the longer you do that, the more vitals you lose, so you gotta be really quick about it.
Oftentimes trying to take out 2 pairs of them at the same time is quite deadly. So you want to have about at least 40 vitals going into the 3rd draw.
So now on the second half of this operation, this is where the randomness really kicks in, because now there's 2 pairs of them, and if 2 of the same color hit each other, like that, they lower the vitals and create tumors and
waste time.
Yep. Sometimes they can kind of get into a feedback loop or they just keep hitting each other over and over again. And
Like that.
also they can interrupt it if like that. So this is pretty standard for Def Terra
Yeah.
here. You can kind of manipulate where they go with the antibiotic gel, but sometimes they take that more as a suggestion than anything else.
Yeah.
Okay. We got one here.
Oops.
Those tumors, by the way, can really drain your vitals if you don't deal with them right away.
We have a $15 donation from Alex107. I remember this game, especially how weird it got really quickly and how difficult it was. Watching someone destroy this game is a lot of fun to watch. Keep up the good work.
So that was a little bit below average luck, I think, there.
Yeah.
Usually, an average run for me on that is about 3:30 left on the in-game timer.
That's about standard, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but fortunately, we won't be doing Def Terra for quite a while. Although, of course, now we have a explosive patient, if you will.
This mission is the bomb, as it were. Like, literally.
Yeah, so the story behind this is like you're at this conference discussing guilt and how the doctors are going to go about it, and then all of a sudden, some terrorist comes in, drops a bomb, and runs away.
And of course, the 2 doctors on site are the only ones who are capable of defusing the bomb.
Yeah, conveniently, the other doctor, came with used to date somebody.
Date somebody
from
on the bomb squad.
Anime, everybody.
Yep. Anime surgery. Here we go. So this first part of the bomb, you need to
Twist.
twist and have extreme wrist pain.
You have to turn those screws a
Open the
specific
panel.
direction, but there's like little incisions on the panel that tell you where it is if you use the magnification tool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I just guess.
Well, the first time I played it, it yelled at me for doing it wrong.
Luckily, we're playing the Japanese version, so it's easy. We don't know what they're saying. So this part, you actually have to laser the white panels while avoiding the red panels, and while avoiding the big glowing ball in the middle. And it can be very precise.
Yeah, and if
We
you
don't
hit,
want to mess up. Yeah,
if you hit two red panels, the bomb explodes. So why don't we just be quiet here for him?
All right.
For that
Very
last
good.
part, it moves too quickly. You need to use the healing touch there.
Yeah, to get max rank on that operation, you have to do that without the healing touch.
On hard, and on hard, those red dots will actually like go to right where you're lasering.
Yeah.
So, a quick explanation about those panels. The red panels will only move one panel away. So, if you're going through that as quickly as possible, you can kind of use that information to your advantage, but this operation loses a couple minutes if you fail it, so understandably Iris took it a little bit safe.
I forgot to switch to hard on this one. So on hard, this operation is actually a little bit faster because this patient has edema in their lungs and we have to drain it out. And on hard, the turbulence will occur faster, which
Because we're on
of course we
plane.
want. But unfortunately, I forgot to select it.
Yeah, each of the turbulence is basically a cycle.
I think there's 5 patterns where the 3 edemas can show up.
So there's 4 different patterns, but the locations are always the same on each pattern. So after the turbulence,
After you find
Dies
the first
down.
one, yeah.
of course, I got the same pattern again. But the locations are the same.
And you always have to wait for the turbulence to end before you can find the 3. So it's about 4 cycles.
This operation on hard can be a little bit nerve-wracking too because the edemas do a lot of damage when you cut them open. So not only are you looking for where the pattern is, but you have a very short amount of time to do it, so managing vitals can be really difficult.
We have a $15 donation from Valor B. I just had to donate during this awesome game and even more awesome runner. Shout out to all the runners and the whole event crew. You're doing an awesome job. So a big thank you from Germany.
This next operation is probably the biggest wall I've seen casually. It's the form of guilt is called Trity, and it's basically a big puzzle. Doing it wrong makes the operation go horrible really quickly. But because we have the healing touch, we can just cheese it.
Yeah.
So if anybody watching here has gotten stuck on this one and wants an easy way to do it, this is how you do it right here.
It's funny you say cheese it because this guilt, it looks like Doritos.
It does.
Maybe
This is
guacamole.
Dorito strain.
Yeah. Featuring birthday candles or something. So you have to pull out each of the birthday candles in order to get to the Doritos, and
I never put that connection together, but now I can't unsee it.
happy birthday. We removed all the Doritos, so
Yep.
you should be fine.
All the Doritos have been extracted.
I'll never get sponsored now.
This operation is delicious.
I wonder how many people watching now are going back to the game now that got
try
stuck
this.
on this
They're
one.
going to Taco Bell.
Well, you're having everyone in the chat spamming the Doritos emote, so
I had a feeling that would happen.
I'd expect nothing less from Twitch chat. Are you gonna go for it blind?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
So you're driving down the road with Naomi Weaver here, and I guess there's a patient with you.
No.
This is a car accident.
Yeah.
So
There was someone tailing you, and then so we tried to just drive away,
Oh, right,
and,
right, right.
and they ran into a tunnel. And so now the lights are out, and we only have a pen light to see it.
A pen light and a camera.
So for this first part, I have to use the pen light, but then eventually the pen light will go out, and I'll have to do it. Well, don't have to, but I'm going to do it blind.
we have an anonymous $100 donation. If I ever needed surgery, could Irisjoker cut me open? He's got the scrubs, so you know it's legit.
But we didn't do it in the dark.
don't ever do surgery in the dark, by the way,
Yeah.
if it isn't obvious.
And of course, by the time you finish the operation, the lights go back on in the tunnel.
Conveniently.
Convenient.
Doesn't really save too much time to do it blind if you're doing it all optimally, but it just looks cool.
Okay.
So chapter 4 is a bit of a chill chapter compared to chapter 3. Like, there's a big difficulty spike at chapter 3, and then it kind of ramps down a bit in 4 before it starts really kicking into high gear in chapter 5 and 6. So the premise of the first half of this chapter is you're researching a new strain of guilt, Tatarti, and this operation is about investigating some outbreaks in the neighborhood and finding the 3 different strains of it. Thankfully, they all are in the same locations every time, and it's not random.
I like to call Tatardi the Olympic swimmer. He's doing the front crawl there.
You're killing me, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, keep it up.
I say this one right up at this game on my stream too.
So yeah, there's 3 different colors, and there's 5 locations. 2 of them are duplicates, and then there's 3 unique ones. If this part of the game was random, it would be really awful because these operations takes about, 30 seconds or so?
Yeah, 30 seconds, roughly 30 to 40 seconds each.
Yeah. And you have to be careful not to exit out of this operation.
Yes, something I've done many times, even
Me too.
while I was practicing. I was, because you get so used to just pausing and then doing episode select to just move on to the next as quickly as possible. But this is,
Because each time it shows you the operation score select screen, and you're like, oh, I want to exit out now. But you
Funny-
can't do that.
Funny little thing about this as far as rank goes, it only cares about the last one. So you can get a C in the first 2, and then get max rank in the last one, and it will count that one. And then SESK used that strategy in his max rank run, which is still on the SDA site, actually, and it's one of the best runs on the site. Even to this day, he did the run, 7 years ago?
yeah, it was like over 7 years ago, and still no one's beaten it.
No one's tried.
No one's
to,
even
I think,
completed. I should say no one's completed it.
Yeah.
As far as we know.
There's maybe 2 operations I haven't max ranked on hard myself, but doing it all in one sitting, just I couldn't do it.
Yeah, doing any percent in one sitting is already like tiring enough. 100% excess is very stressful.
Oh yeah.
So this last one's a little bit different, as you may have noticed. The past few samples have been pretty docile, but this one's gonna freak out in a bit. So I'm just gonna keep tapping the gel over its head so it doesn't move around all that much, and eventually it'll stop.
The gel has a lot of unique properties in the game. A lot of it they don't tell you, but what they do tell you is they cure small cuts and they slightly raise the vitals of your patient.
I was really holding this back, but that went swimmingly. Sorry. Go ahead again.
You know, at this point, I was expecting we'd hear more donation comments about MSF and puns, but you know, I was going to keep quiet about it until you said that. I'm so sorry.
All right.
Well, if that's the case, I can go ahead and read this donation. That's $100 from Annoy Boy. It says, had to guilt me into finally donating since you are obviously no screw. I believe you have the touch. Save your patients so other doctors can continue to do the same. Sorry, not sorry.
I was kind of wondering why it took this long for one to show up or at least be read. So this is the real battle with Tatardi. You have to deal with all 3 strains at once, and it's basically a game of color matching. You'll have 3 different colored vials, and you need to inject the right one in there. And first, you have to remove these tumors. If you inject the wrong color into the wrong strain, then a tumor like that will appear.
Which you have to take out with the similar color. So I don't know how somebody who's colorblind does this operation because I can barely tell yellow from green sometimes in this one.
This is one of the few operations in hard where you can make mistakes and still get max rank on. The thing that it's most concerned about is your max chain, and so successful actions in a row.
We have a $50 donation from Cami Rose. This has to be one of the most appropriate games for this marathon. I loved Trauma Center Under the Knife as a kid, even though it was a bit too difficult for me. This money goes to the Diablo 2 cow level, but I will donate another $50 to Runner's Choice if he or someone on the couch does their best nurse's sensei impression.
Oh dear.
Dr. Styles. Sensei.
Sensei! So the next few operations is going to be more research on the next strain of guilt called Pempty. It's basically 4 operations in a row, basically teaching you how to deal with it. And the operations are, at least at first, vary slightly. It's basically the head researcher just doing exploratory surgery. So it's like, try this, try that, don't kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone in my chat once came in when I was battling Pempty and said, "Is that a blender?" I was like, yeah,
Yes.
I think so.
You got a name for each one of them?
You'll see.
I'm afraid.
We have a $10 donation from Sluis Slink saying, I didn't realize SGDQ was airing reruns of MASH. Keep it up, Iris. Or is that Hawkeye?
I didn't know MASH was anime.
It is now.
Yep. I'm pretty sure there's a MASH anime.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's an equivalent. So this game is kind of a big puzzle in some ways, and this operation is literally a puzzle.
You're doing it too.
Yeah, the story explains it as, well, we need you to... obviously, I could solve this faster, but we need you to do it so, you know, we can figure out how to deal with Pempty. To see if you would do it differently.
This, for me, was embarrassingly one of the harder operations for me to master just because I kept forgetting the solutions to them.
Yeah, every time I stop playing this game for a while, I come back and I'm just like, no.
I have a little cheat sheet on my desk for it.
Make me a photocopy of that.
Is that considered tool assisted?
I think this whole game is considered tool assisted.
Please.
Medical tools.
We have a $5 donation from Anonymous saying, I'm impressed you can quickly play Trauma Center for unbroken stretches. I went for the new blood leaderboard spots and had to stop every 20 minutes for my wrists. Save the patients, kill the animals.
I wouldn't be surprised if SGDQ had a bunch of scores up there.
I have a bunch of scores up there too.
Are the leaderboards even still up anymore? I don't think they are, because
You can't check them anymore. No.
yeah, Nintendo Wi-Fi connection's down, unfortunately. Well, maybe one day they'll release it for Virtual Console and we'll get online leaderboards again.
They released Trauma Team for Virtual Console. Surprisingly.
Atlas and Nintendo, if you're listening, please. more games in this series and put these on Virtual Console.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, the difference, or I should say speed-wise, with the text skipping for Japanese version is roughly 27 seconds faster out of operation. We usually just round to 30 seconds for in-op text. So with Virtual Console, it might even be that much faster, since there will be less lag, because there are some operations that have a lot of lag due to all of the effects on the screen.
This is the second puzzle operation. There's two of them, and they're a bit larger. Here, another needing me for cheat sheets there.
So yeah, if you want to read donations, you can go right ahead, because this is just another drop.
No problem.
Pick up and drag.
We have a $25 donation from Guilty with the question mark. Trauma Center claims that GILT stands for gangliated ultrafin immunolatency toxin, which doesn't really mean anything if I research on Wikipedia. But clearly, it actually stands for Get Under Irisjoker's Lasers and other trolls Totally Destroyed.
Wow.
That was a stretch.
Impressive.
A $50 donation from Bets Hunter. First time donator, long time watcher. Kill the animals, kill them all. Save the frames.
So finally, after all those operations, is the real battle with Pempty, and I basically equate it to being an auto-scroller because you're just lasering the core and killing off what it spawns and just fixing what it does to your patient's lung here.
Yeah. So there'll be three patterns that Pempty will try to more or less attack with. It'll split up its cores and try to do whatever it can to try and kill the patient. But first we'll inject this sedative to reduce all of this pus up here.
It's basically a keep up with or keep ahead of the blender kind of operation.
Yeah, done optimally, this is basically an auto-scroller, but if you fall behind, it gets out of hand in a hurry, especially on the harder difficulties.
Yeah, the X mission, once it gets out of hand, you're not recovering from that for sure.
You pretty much have one get-out-of-jail-free card with your healing touch, but that's it.
Yeah. Oh, it can be really bad if you have to rely on the healing touch for this one, because it'll really slow down Pempty's patterns. You'll have plenty of time to boost the patient's vitals, but you'll lose a lot of time.
You could probably get another donation or two in during this operation.
We have a $50 donation from Cami Rose again saying, good enough. Good luck on the run. This goes to Runner's Choice. We also have an anonymous $50 donation saying, thanks for running SMT Hospital. Trauma Center is always a fun watch.
Also, it's interesting to note that for this operation, they give you an infinite laser. It's like stronger than a regular laser, and it disappears for all the other missions after this.
Yeah. Although I do have to be careful, if I use the laser like outside of this area where Pempty is, it will burn holes into the patient's lung, which we don't want to do.
It's true. This patient is very resilient.
I guess that's a mechanic we didn't really go over, is if you use the same tool for too long in a row, it will become temporarily unavailable. And as mentioned before, this laser gets around that.
Yeah. I think the only two exceptions are the forceps and the drain and the ultrasound, but it's tools like the syringe, the stitches eventually, which I found out with the Savato.
And laser, yeah.
I didn't know that could happen.
Yeah.
It can.
The most common one you'll run into is the laser and the gel and the syringe.
Yes.
We have a $10 donation from Johan84. Love seeing the runners destroying this game. Regards from a resident surgeon in Norway. I'm no vet, so kill the animals.
This is Naomi's hardest operation by far. The patient has a cap of 45 vitals, or maybe it's 50. It's really low. So mistakes are pretty costly.
So you'll be seeing, I think Irisjoker will use the healing touch in this operation?
Yeah, it's pretty much mandatory to use the healing touch on this one.
Because vitals just drop too fast otherwise.
If I can draw it. There we go.
Okay.
Drawing stars is impossible.
When you remove a few veins, and you have enough time to do the transplant in one go.
So he's injecting the vasoconstrictor to...
Yeah, we'll use the vasoconstrictor to constrict the veins, and then I'll attach these parts of the organ to the patient.
And as you can see, making cuts into the veins and the organ drops the vitals very quickly. It's like 20 on normal and 25 or 30 on hard.
And you have to wait for the...
Yeah, it'd be really
regain its
difficult to
normal
do this
size.
without the healing touch. It'd probably take an extra 2 to 3 minutes.
I don't even think you can get past the tumors on hard without the healing touch.
Oh, yeah.
We have a $25 donation from Victor42. I work as a gastrointestinal clinic in Brazil, and I can assure you that freaking Dorito virus pops up every week or so. Shout outs from the CIG.
That's amazing.
So this is where the game starts to ramp up in difficulty by far. This operation is what separates the top runners from everyone else, because...
Remember our friend Kiriaki? Yeah.
Yep.
5 times in a row.
Gonna be seeing a lot of it.
So most of these patients are probably going to end up at like less than 10 vitals, because we're just going to be going in, taking them out, and just shipping them away.
Yeah, this is the part of the story where Guild is starting to infect the general population, so Caduceus is coming out to save the day.
So you get into a general rhythm with Kiriaki where you use the ultrasound, you cut him out, and then you gel the cut that it makes, and then laser the Kiriaki twice, and then you suture the laceration that it made.
And generally under 40 seconds on the in-game timer is really good, and that was almost 30 for that first one.
R5 operations can be
double.
done in just under 3 minutes if you're super, super fast.
Another double.
Thanks. And you always want to keep about just over 8 vitals to before you cut out the small teriyaki, big teriyaki. Yeah. Words at 5 in the morning.
For that second patient, you can. I didn't really have to use the syringe there, but just for safety's sake, I wanted to keep the patient alive at above 0. But the game does give you like a very slight amount of leeway if their vitals fall to 0.
Yeah. I once had a patient at 0 vitals for a second and a half. In a panic, I still managed to save them. I think we've all had moments like that.
Although you do have to be careful because if you actually place the bandage wrong and you're at low vitals, it will actually kill the patient because the bandage deals damage and it counts as a miss.
Which I think most of us have had that happen to them, but I've had it happen to me on stream once before, and I've never had to can't live it down.
Yeah. That was close.
We have a $10 anonymous donation saying, hey, I'll donate another 10 if someone dabs the doctor's forehead with a cloth.
After this,
It's gonna be okay. They're gonna make it.
Hope I didn't get too much in the way.
Oh. Okay, there we go.
In the final 2 patients, they start spawning smaller Kiriaki with the larger one, and that becomes the standard in all future Kiriaki operations.
so
The only thing-
patient left. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. And the only thing that changes in the later ones is the big Kiriaki takes an extra hit.
And the smaller ones do too.
Oh yeah, that's
The smaller
right.
ones initially take 2, and then eventually they'll take 3 hits to deal with. But overall, it's still easy. Well, relatively easy, I should say, to take them down.
I believe you can get through this operation with only curing 3 of them before you run out of time. Is that right? I've never.
It's been a long time since I've managed to do less than 5, because I almost killed the patient there. He was at 4.
That was close.
Yeah, so we did 5 patients in about 3.5 minutes.
Still really, really good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So now it's Revenge of the Doritos. And this operation, at least for me, is a lot harder after doing 5-2 because your hands have just been going nuts.
Yeah.
Your hands are cramped up and they're hurting at this point, so it's
Thankfully, the next 2 operations are not that intensive compared to 5-2.
We have an anonymous $10 donation. I'm considering changing my career path after seeing Iris play Trauma Center. I didn't know a surgeon's work was so colorful and time bomb filled. Sorry, I couldn't donate more. Keep saving those patients. Kill the Animals is down, so that's the one I'm donating to.
all the Doritos are moved. Nice.
There's only one more batch of them left in the run.
We have a $30 donation from Jevith245. My, how far we've come with this game from playing casually at the old house years ago to playing on the big stage at SGDQ. Kyle and I are up supporting you, bud. Great game, great cause, great guy. Good luck on the run, Iris. 30 for SMRPG, proper file name of LCC.
And this one, I believe, is Tatardi again. A lot of the operations in Chapter 5 are retreads, mostly just to make sure you know what you're doing before they start really... before they throw in the more difficult versions of them. Though they will be introducing a new strain of guilt after this operation.
Which I don't have a special name for it.
I'm sure your donator could figure out one. But we'll figure that out when we get there. You can probably get in another donation or two here.
Oh yeah.
No problem. We have a $20 donation from Space Ghost. Just happened to turn on the stream and the Trauma Center run seemed like the perfect time to donate to Doctors Without Borders. Iris, your reflexes are godlike and you're rocking those scrubs. I'm putting my donation towards saving the animals in memory of all the lab animals that lost their lives to further our understanding of medicine.
Thank you.
So here's the sixth strain of guilt, which is Paraskevi. This one can be a little bit nerve-wracking at first, at least casually, because the nickname for it is Arrow to the Heart, and it's this snake-like thing that can burrow into organs. And if it burrows into the heart, then you immediately, the patient immediately dies.
Yeah. So for this one, it starts on the large intestine, moves up to the stomach, and then I think it goes to the heart. But ideally, we're not going to let it burrow at all. We're just going to try and extract all of them as quickly as possible.
It's nice to have those chances just in case one does burrow. So.
We have a $20 donation from Claude Romano. Love games done quick, and I love that you support Doctors Without Borders. Take this donation and help the people who need it most.
As you can see here, when you have to laser the Paraskevi and then cut it in half, and it will make a laceration every time it happens. And there's a multitude of ways you can approach this operation, but it's really just down to runner preference on what they do exactly.
Yeah, some will take out the whole first half of the Paraskevi and then use the healing touch for the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's generally...
So now half of it's extracted. Typically, I'm trying to go for the smallest segments. I'll leave the larger ones alone and just slowly cut down on the smaller segments. I'm dealing with the cuts as quickly as possible because if I leave the cuts alone, they'll keep hurting the patient. Because the only thing that's actually hurting the patient are these cuts as they're open right now.
But luckily, these Paraskevi don't do much damage compared to, say, the X-Mission, where you only have 50 vitals and each cut does like 35. So.
Yeah, they purposely slow down the extreme mission.
There's another sensei. Yeah. It's like 32.
A little later in the run, Paraskevi's going to come back in a big way in multiple forms, but we'll get to that when we get there.
So yeah, this chapter 5 is more or less the remake of the end of the DS version, hence why we're doing all of the guild strains all over again. Oh, this is a story chapter.
That's
We've
where
all
you
done
find
that.
out the name of the evil organization is Delphi, I think.
Yeah.
It's
And so
called
now
Delphi,
Caduceus
Delphi's name.
and pretty much the entire world are getting sick of their shenanigans with infecting everyone, so now they're more or less closing in on them.
Yeah, this is their base of operations here. This operation is kind of an introduction to Savato, which is the final strain. It'll spawn, this one's with the, I guess, infant Savato, or I don't know what their real term
Yeah,
is.
they're more or less called the infant or the immature Savato.
I do actually have a nickname for Savato.
Or
I'll
like
tell you guys that
or
now.
baby spiders.
So if you didn't think this was anime before, you got lung spiders.
Yeah. I hope not.
So you want to kill these spiders as soon as they spawn, because if you leave them out even for a little bit, they will create a larger or infant
A
Savato.
large blue bug that
Yeah.
causes a lot of damage
Yeah.
and wastes a lot of time.
The reason why I used the healing touch for this one was for those last two cuts that occurred with the spiders coming out. The healing touch will prevent them from combining into a blue bug, which will save a little bit of time.
It's very hard to keep up with that.
You can do it without the healing touch, but you'd have to be really precise.
Yeah. Also, using healing touch pretty much just eliminates the chance of them combining at all. So we just do that for safety.
So we've gone through most of this game, and there haven't been any glitches yet, but there are two on the Savato fight. And one of them greatly speeds up the first to third of this operation. And there's a second one which Iris is going to attempt, but we may not be able to see depending on the situation.
Yeah, it depends on whether or not my laser usage is unlucky. So this is the first glitch. We more or less call it the healing touch glitch. Each time you cut a web, the scalpel will burn away. But if I tap Z or C with the scalpel selected, I can more or less trick the game into thinking I have the scalpel active, and it'll give me another chance to keep cutting the web.
Yeah, the healing touch glitch works only for just a little bit of time. You have to keep tapping Z or C to do that, but if you make the cuts correctly on the webs here, you only have to like tap it once and it's done, because it leaves the web with like almost no health. The web portion of this is a little bit luck based. On the second cycle, you can get one that you can do in 2 cuts compared to 3.
Yeah. Normally that first phase would take about 3 minutes, but this glitch like drastically cuts down on the time required. Oh, I missed it.
You kind of got it there.
Almost, yeah. So the second glitch is more or less the syringe glitch, where I'll inject the syringe as Savato cuts open the patient. There we go. I just did it there. And the spiders will just stop moving.
Whoa.
We're not sure why it happens. It can be very useful in a pinch when your laser's down, because they can't combine when they're stuck like that either.
And you gain laser back when you're using the syringe just because you're not using the laser,
So for this part of Savato, he's got to use the laser to break the shield, and I believe it was 3 or 4 layers. I don't remember exactly, but
I think it increases with each time.
yeah. Also, when Savato's about to do an attack, you can't laser him, and at least on screen, you can't really tell when that's going to happen, but
There is a visual cue. Although it's pretty hard to see. There'll be like small veins right there that'll start pulsating. Also, on the Wiimote, if when Savato's about to do an attack, the Wiimote will stop vibrating when I'm using the laser on him. So that's when I basically know when to stop. You may have also noticed that I'm tapping the laser whenever Savato moves, because Savato likes to move around quite a bit, and I don't want to waste the laser.
Yeah, this operation, unfortunately, can be a little bit luck-based depending on how often he decides to attack, and that's why you got to be really on point with your laser usage.
Also, I'm not sure if it was mentioned, you can't use the healing touch during this because you need it for the very end of the operation.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest flaws with this game, is that they don't tell you that. If you use the healing touch before you get to the end of this operation, you cannot finish it. and there's like no indication that it's possible. They kind of hint towards it in
So you inject
the dialogue at the end.
a vial of stuff, and then you actually get to use a double healing touch, which completely stops time.
Yeah. So let's just add more anime on top of anime there.
Yeah. This part's really laggy because of all this, again, all this blood and cuts on the screen, but it'll all go away after this.
And all the
Magic.
cuts magically go away, yeah.
We have a $100 donation from Caramel Man 5. Can't wait to tell my senior physician what he's been doing wrong all this time on Monday morning.
So here's the final Naomi chapter, and this is where they're basically the precursor to Savato. This is where they're doing their own research on it. We haven't seen the combined form of Savato yet, but you will see it in this operation. And 3 of them will spawn. They do multiple things. One thing is they greatly reduce the vitals, and they also reduce the maximum vitals of the patient. They want you to extract all 3 of them, but you only need to extract 1. They get really mad at you when you kill off 2 of them, but you know the operation's still a success, so whatever.
We save time, I only have 1. Yeah. You said that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Good morning.
Also, this is the first encounter with the more advanced Kyriaki that takes additional hits, and they also send out 3 of you at the start instead of 2.
See, this is probably the operation with the most amount of dialogue with it, because they get really mad when you get rid of their Savato samples.
And you do fail the operation if you end up killing the last one.
Or if you can't draw a star, which happens, it happens.
And depending on where the Kyriaki decides to go, it can be really annoying.
Nice.
It can also be annoying.
That bug can be really annoying sometimes because it'll just keep moving, and I can't use the stabilizer to make it stop until, of course, it stops moving initially.
Yeah, sometimes it'll move mid-injection, and then you'll just hurt the patient instead.
Yeah. I had a practice run earlier where it just kept moving around for about 20 seconds, and I was just wondering why it wouldn't stop.
So this chapter is exclusive to the Wii version of the game. And the first cutscene is basically explaining the events at the end of Trauma Center Under the Knife on the DS. And it's where they save all what Delphi refers to as sinners.
Yeah, they were kidnapping children and using them for experiments to develop their viruses, but we managed to rescue and cure them all. So now we're discussing in the story they're discussing what they're going to do forward, and we're just we're curing all these different patients with guilt.
So yeah, these are the mutations of Guild. These are much harder versions, and they often add new things to the table. Well, neither of which make things any easier.
Oh. Well,
Especially not.
So this is Tatarti Revisited. It starts out normal at first, but you'll see very soon what becomes different about it. So yeah, now they don't show the color on their bodies when they're in that form.
And here's where it's very hard to discern between green and yellow. And so
yeah, you have to pay really close attention to see what color mist they're producing. It can get really
chaotic.
It can get really difficult when the yellow and the green overlap each other.
You'll also notice that they're moving much faster, so making mistakes is much more likely. In SESK's max rank run, this is the operation where he had to reset on because you need to get a max chain of 15. And once you get that, you can make mistakes, but if you make a mistake early, you're not getting your max chain.
Yeah.
I find it's easier to inject them just after they do a turn.
Yeah, you for Tatari, you want to typically go for them while they're traveling in a straight line. if they're really close to each other, they'll just bump into each other and keep turning left and right and make it really difficult to inject the syringe into them.
So in this operation, Derek Styles gets infected with guilt, and it's up to Naomi to save the day. This operation is particularly difficult because you're dealing with 2 strains of guilt at the same time. You got Kyriaki and you got Paraskevi, which is that arrow to the heart, one that we were talking about earlier. Except instead of starting on the intestines, we're starting on the heart. So if any Paraskevi burrows, you're done.
So my approach for this operation will be, I'll start with the Paraskevi, and for the most part ignore Kyriaki until I finish the Paraskevi. But the more I deal with Paraskevi, the more Kyriaki is going to spawn. So I'll use the Healing Touch.
6 spawns in this first part. And wow.
It's like,
This is by far the laggiest operation.
5.
yeah, this is one of the laggiest next to Savato.
Naomi's Healing Touch is really good on this operation, as you're seeing right here.
So now the mature Kyriaki has spawned with an immature, but I want to deal with the Paraskevi before that. So now with the Paraskevi dealt with, I'm going to move on to the Kyriaki.
We have a $50 donation from Chris B. Hey guys, donating again because that trauma center run is so awesome. Wish it was in the middle of the day instead of late at night. Thanks to all of the GDQ staff and definitely the runners. Good luck in med school, Irisjoker. This money goes towards killing the animals. You aren't really killing them, you're just leaving them to fend for themselves.
All right, the next operation is the mutated Pempty strain. The only real difference with it is that the things it spawns has a little more health and they move a little faster, but otherwise it's not really too much trouble.
Yeah.
And thankfully it gives you a little bit of a break on your hands before 6-7, which is by far the hardest operation in the game.
Ironically, on hard difficulty, this Pempty, or this chapter, or I keep mixing it up. This Pempty is much easier than the one you deal in Chapter 4, because the Chapter 4 one has patterns that ironically take more time to laser than this one, because I guess what they did was they compensated by giving them less health but attacking faster.
So yeah, you can probably get a few donations in during this operation.
No problem. We have a $25 donation from Brown Chicken Brown Cow. Thanks for the great entertainment during a stressful time. GDQs remind me of how being a gamer can lead to using your skills for something that helps people who may not have the same luxuries of freedom as yourself. There's only one humanity, and you guys are the best of it. We also have a $550 donation from Sir Woody.
Ooh.
Hello guys, I love what you are doing and even more why you do it. Take my money for a good cause and save the animals.
Do we know how many senseis we're at this point? I think we've lost count.
Lost count after 30.
We have an anonymous $10 donation. Greetings, SGDQ. I started watching the stream in Scotland and now I'm in Japan, watching Trauma Center be ran. Always love these events, and the silly touches people add make them brilliant. Please save the animals. Need to see the little ship fly out at the end. We have $50 from Raven194. Once again, awesome job organizing this event. You have to save the animals from their terrible fate. We have $50 from Matt223. First time donation. Congrats to everyone for another awesome event.
Okay, so now that Iris has had some time to rest here, it's time for Fallen Heroes. So,
It's
good luck, man.
Yeah.
So this operation has 4 strains of guilt back to back. You have Tridi, or the Doritos, Kiriaki once again, and Defterra comes back with a vengeance in a really, really annoying fashion.
and
Which,
then follow it off with a Paraskevi that's directly on the heart, like a full Paraskevi. So it's
yeah. And
serious time for that.
the annoying thing about Defterra is you're using both Derek and Naomi, so you have 2 healing touches. So Derek's got his healing touch for the first and third, and Naomi's got it for the second and fourth. But Defterra is the third one, so it looks like you're okay. So he's
So
wanting-
this is the actual way you're supposed to deal with with treaty. Although I was a little bit slow with that. I wanted to. So for the marathon strats, I'm going to do treaty without using the healing touch. Well, I pulled out the wrong triangle to save my healing touch for Defterra. But as you can see with these respawning triangles, if I don't pull them out quickly enough or keep dropping them, it'll keep respawning. Oh boy.
They're responding with their.
If it keeps respawning, I'll
Ridiculous
just use it.
Yeah.
the nickname for this one is called Contagious Nightmare, and
It's pretty aptly named.
Thought it was gonna be called Contagious Doritos.
It's nightmare flavored Doritos.
Dorito Nightmare. The smoke cloud that it appears once in a while, if it gets too far up in the organ, it will. Does it kill the patient, or is it just reduce
It
vitals?
spawns more Doritos.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to get rid of those as quickly as possible. So yeah, now Iris has a healing touch for Defterra just in case he needs it.
Yeah. Defterra on this operation can be really, really nasty, so I'd rather have it. I would rather have my healing touch for Defterra than Treaty, which is pretty stationary and doesn't do much.
Yeah, when you're doing actual attempts in this game, you would use the healing touch on Treaty just to go faster. There, but we've all lost a run to Fallen Heroes at one point or another.
We have a $45 donation from PX. PX here, got stuck in overtime so I missed the run, but good luck drawing a star, Irisjoker. Give this to his choice if he draws the final star first try. Otherwise, Alta decides where it goes. Cheers for another successful GDQ.
Thanks for that, PX.
Thanks, BX.
I'm glad I don't have to decide.
So the difference on Defterra for this one is hemorrhaging. So blood pools are going to be randomly spawning throughout, and one thing we never mentioned about blood pools earlier was oh, come on. Oh, okay. So blood pools, if there's like a tumor sitting below it, you can't laser it until the blood pool goes away. So yeah, just right there, it happened twice. So if it happens at the wrong time, it can get in the way.
I couldn't see where the dot was.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really hard to see what that is.
You're a madman for going both of them at
Oh,
the same time.
Yeah. That was.
Yeah, doing that is very, very dangerous because as you saw, I had about 88 vitals and now he's at 14. So I had to play very, very quickly and accurately for that part.
And use the healing touch to save people.
So here's Paraskevi again, except it's just a full Paraskevi, except it's on the heart, so you gotta be on point with it.
You can't let any of them burrow.
Thankfully, you have Naomi's healing touch, so if you end up getting a little bit behind, you can just burn it and then just not have to worry about vitals. By the way, you can tell if Paraskevi is about to burrow when its tail is shaking. And so when you see that, you're going to need to laser it as soon as possible.
Sometimes it spins around in a circle, and it's hard to laser them.
Yeah.
We have a $100 donation from Strife. Hey guys, I didn't know this certain game at all and it looks hard as hell. Donating again for the Pokemon Blue Run because Pokemon is awesome. I will go back to my Pokemon Go hunt now. Bye.
You will want to donate for that Blue Run, by the way. Reverse badge acquisition is really cool. Thankfully, you had a buffer there.
Yeah.
All right, this is the final operation in the game. It's Savato again, except Savato just got really metal.
So the nickname that somebody in my chat gave to Savato, this form of Savato, was Flaming Race Car. I don't know why. Because it's on fire.
So the main difference in this form of Savato is Savato's shields have a little more health, and the webs will turn red after a short amount of time, and if you don't cut them in time, it greatly reduces vitals.
Yeah, the patient will lose like a third of their vitals if I'm too slow with cutting each of these web segments.
And thankfully we have the healing touch glitch, so this section isn't really that difficult. Bad luck again.
Yeah, I've been getting this pattern quite a bit lately.
There's two patterns that can spawn on this one. This one that he got here takes 3 cycles, and the other one takes 2. Oh, another small difference with this Savato is if you clear up the web sections and then clear up the shields in the later part of this fight, you don't have to clean up your mess because there's 2 doctors doing this operation.
Yeah, so either Naomi or Styles will clean up the mess. That's good.
Though it is a little bit faster to... Oh.
What?
Ooh. That was bad luck. It's alright.
Okay.
Wow.
This is fun.
So I was like literally a fraction of a second off with using the scalpel on that web.
Yeah, frames off.
This form of Savato tends to attack more frequently as well, but it's a bit luck-based still. Unlike the first Savato as well, you do have a second healing touch because Naomi is on this one, but it's only when you're working on the south end of the heart.
Or can you actually use it?
Yeah, so you can actually use Naomi's healing touch, but the problem is, or not problem, but for speedrun
Yeah.
usage, you don't really want to use it because it causes a lot of lag.
Right.
We have a $30 donation from Little Red J141. Speedrunning is an art, and you guys are some impressive artists. Keep up the great work. These events are always a wonderful treat.
Also, for those of you who played the Persona and Shin Megami Tensei series, if music sounds familiar, it's because it's by the same composer, Shoji Meguro.
On the harder difficulties, you will generally let the vitals go down pretty far, or just because the attacks come so frequently. Yeah, generally, the strategy in this part of the Savato fight is you laser when you can, and then while your laser's on cooldown, you use some stabilizer. Or generally, you can get away with what, about 15 to 20 vitals and still be safe.
Yeah.
With an attack.
Typically, I'll wait, or not wait, but I'll play aggressively up until the vitals hit below 20, and then I'll start to use the stabilizer more often instead of the laser. And then once they get back up to around 30 or 40, I'll go back on the offensive. So Savato's definitely about balancing offense and defense. So now he's at 20. I'm actually having some bad luck with this.
Yeah. It can cost a lot of time for sure.
Oof.
Oof. I think he's not playing nice right now.
No.
Those baby spiders can make the immature Savato, which you really don't want to have happen.
Jeez, come on,
Man. So on this third and final part of Savato, you need to have at least 30 vitals when you do the injection before it goes into its insane mode or whatever you want to call it.
At least 30. 50 is more preferable, I think.
Yeah, if you have your vitals below 30, then the patient dies.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So ironically, the cure to Savato was in the way for me to use the syringe glitch to make the immature Savato to make the baby spiders stop moving.
It's an unfortunate thing about this game speedrun-wise is you have two really heavy random parts near the end. You got Savato and then you got Defterra at the end of Fallen Heroes.
They can just cost a lot of time in general, for sure. So here again is the double healing touch, and then...
Oh, that was close. Ironically, though, because I spent an extra 2 seconds drawing a star, the blood pools went away, and so Savato died faster.
Nice.
All right, time is not quite yet here. We got to get to the end of the epilogue before time comes up. But it's just a bunch of text skipping, so... But yeah, that's Trauma Center Second Opinion. This is a really difficult game to run.
Yeah.
But it is very fun to learn. There's definitely a lot more depth to it, even though there aren't many glitches to it. There's a plethora of ways to approach it.
Mm-hmm. This is definitely one of those games where your ceiling is your own physical skill with moving the Wiimote around. Oh, that's time, by the way.
Yeah, that's time.
1:30:56.
Pretty good.
Good for a marathon.
Considering RNG.
Yeah, yeah. This photo was pretty mean towards the end.
Yeah, Defterra wasn't too kind to you either.
Yeah.
But what can you do with that?
Congrats on drawing a star.
I think you missed the first time, so send that to Pokemon Blue for that one donation.
Fair enough.
Thank you, Irisjoker, for your run of Trauma Center Second Opinion. After this, let me just check real quick. Just so you know about the Pokemon Blue. The Pokemon Blue right now, we still need 50,000. We're at 16,934. So get those donations in. This is Summer Games Done Quick 2016. Benefiting Doctors Without Borders, sponsored by Twitch.